Today, I wanted to show you how to make a cardboard loom. A loom is used for weaving. In the back, in the fiber and sewing studio, there are many supplies here to help you learn how to weave, such as this binder with all of the different directions. I've also provided for you different tracers that you can use, but you must return them. These tracers are great, and there are many sizes available. You can use a tracer, but get the cardboard from either this cardboard weaving supply box or from the sculpture center in the back corner. So pick a tracer the size that you want your weaving to be and get your cardboard. It is your job to trace the tracer and cut it out to make the loom the size you want that you picked out. It's easy to do this with a marker or a pencil, making sure to mark those notches and then carefully cut straight lines where you drew, and then go back and cut the notches. Any extra cardboard you had, return to the sculpture center for another artist.
The next step is going to be to wrap the warp threads. The warp threads are the ones that don't move. You're going to attach them to your frame, and then those are the threads that you're going to be weaving in and out of. When you're wrapping your warp threads, you're going to leave the string attached to the spool of yarn. You don't really know yet how long you need that string to be, so leave it attached. It's actually easier if you put it down on the floor to keep it from rolling around. And when you're finished, you're going to tie those two strings across the back. You want to make this pretty tight so the strings don't stretch too much. Make a double knot, and then you can cut your yarn away from the spool. Now it's time to start weaving with the weft threads. One way you can remember that is you're going to be weaving from left to right. This time you are going to cut the yarn before you start weaving. After you thread your needle, you can tie a knot to help keep that yarn put while you're weaving. And then something that I find pretty helpful is to run a ruler underneath all of those warp threads. If you turn it sideways, it's going to separate the yarn from the cardboard and just make it a little bit easier for your fingers to move in and out. So I've already woven my first row. You're just going to start and go over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way across. Notice that I pulled it until there was just a little short piece of yarn left over. Before you start weaving your second row, it's really important that you take a look at where you left off. That pink string ended underneath the blue yarn. So what that means is on my way back, I have to start over the blue yarn. Be careful not to pull too tightly at the end of each row, or your end strings will start to pull in and create an hourglass shape instead of a nice straight rectangle. So keep weaving until you use up that first piece of yarn. And one option is to try to end your weaving with the yarn somewhere in the middle. You can just cut the yarn off of your needle and leave it right where it lands. When you're ready to add your next color, you can just start it where the other one left off. Right there in the middle, just start pulling your yarn through and again start weaving back and forth.